Hey, what's up guys? Justin here from Out of the Basement to bring you another Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch action figure review. Today we are doing an absolute throwback. From the blue line in 2014/2015, this is the Imperial Shadow Squadron 2-pack Target exclusive set, which includes the speeder bike with Shadow Scout and Shadow Stormtrooper Commander. These are the Shadow Stormtroopers from Legends, kind of like the Special Forces. I know they popped up in Crimson Empire. I actually found this set at a local toy shop for a really good price, complete in box, so I'm super excited. This is a GRAIL item for me. This was easily the biggest hole in my Black Series collection, so I am beyond excited to finally get my hands on this set. And of course, we gotta review it for you guys today. So we do have the Black Series logo on the bottom left. You know, like I said, it's that classic blue line packaging. On the bottom, it does say Imperial Shadow Squadron, speeder bike with Shadow Scout and Shadow Stormtrooper Commander. Then we move over to the little images and circles over here. Then we have this very large window with like the interior of the Death Star. We have the Millennium Falcon and a whole bunch of troopers over here for that backdrop, you know, cardboard backdrop. Am I right, fellas? Not a tear this time around. There is a bit of top window packaging, about halfway. Blank on both sides, but on the back we do have that beautiful and nostalgic blue light and some beautiful but subtle art of the Shadow Stormtroopers. Black Series logo again up here, and there is a read-up. If you would like to read it, go ahead and pause it there. Here is a closer look at that cardboard backdrop built right into the packaging. It's actually pretty cool. You know, you got some three-dimensional space here to do like a little diorama if you wanted to. It's actually pretty cool. All right, here is the Shadow Squadron set out of the packaging. The GRAIL item is now in my hands, and I gotta say, these figures look absolutely incredible. If you guys didn't know, the Stormtrooper over here actually utilizes the Sand Trooper helmet. And if you've been watching us for a while, you know the Sand Trooper is our favorite Black Series figure and our favorite Black Series, you know, helmet scale sculpt. So I'm really excited to take a deeper dive. Let's take a look at that Stormtrooper first. The Shadow Stormtrooper Commander comes with 3 weapons. The first being your standard issue E11 blaster. All 3 of these blasters appear to just be cast in gray plastic, but you know, this time around I honestly think it might make sense for a Shadow Stormtrooper who can cloak their armor. Perhaps it just, you know, makes a bit more sense that you don't have that shiny chrome paint on it. That's just my odd justification for no paint on these blasters. But yeah, you do have the DLT-19 as well. These are all the weapons that came with the Sand Troopers, so you guys know what you are getting into if you have those. Great sculpt on all of these weapons. And lastly, the T-21, which is a little jarring that this one doesn't have paint because the original Sand Trooper one had tons of paint on it. But again, these are, you know, reconnaissance stormtroopers that can, you know, cloak, you know, and become a shadow. So I don't know. I'll give it a pass this time around because, you know, stealthy. Yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, that Sand Trooper helmet is really working for this figure. I think it makes such a huge difference. We'll get a little bit more into that. But at first sight, it might just seem like a black repaint, which essentially it is, but there actually is a surprising amount of variety between the different shades of paint, whether that be glossy black, matte black. There's a little bit of chrome, silver, and there's even some like creamy, you know, midnight blue in here as well. So let's take a closer look at the Shadow Stormtrooper Commander. So cool, guys. Take a look at that helmet. Let's get a nice little close-up of that helmet. I love the Sand Trooper helmet sculpt. If you don't really understand what I'm saying, let's take a look at some other. This is the older Stormtrooper right here, so you can tell the difference in helmet sculpt right here. So you can tell that this is the Sand Trooper helmet sculpt, which I do think makes a world of difference. We absolutely love the helmet sculpt. Just the proportions are so accurate. I really like the look of this helmet, and the details on this helmet are off the chart as well. Look at that chrome in the grill and on the breathing apparatus, and you almost have a little bit of that darker grayish on a bit of those details around the helmet with those black lines. You have it on the back of the helmet as well. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying about the variety of paint. When you look at the paint on just the main part of the helmet, the black line above the helmet is a little more matte, but then the visor itself, where you would see out of, is super glossy. Love that. Even the pauldron right here is not just black, it's actually more of like a super dark gray, which I think really, really works. You know, it's shiny, but not too much shine. And like I said, some areas are a little more matted compared to other areas. All right, I had to go to extreme exposure settings to get this point across, but you could see the hands are almost kind of like a creamy midnight blue compared to the black of the arm. It's really easy to miss, but it's there. This is appearing to be a really odd shade of blue, which I think really makes a difference. It's easier to see in person. You know, I had to really overexpose the shot to make it work, but it's also on the joints of this figure. So you can see in the knee joint, it's a different shade of paint. It's hard to explain. It's like this really creamy midnight blue kind of shade. It's not really appearing on camera. Even on the, you know, the pants under the armor here, you can tell that's not the same shade of black. It's this, you know, odd shade of blue that it has going on. It really makes the figure pop. Other than that, though, you know, it's the mold, you know, it's the sculpt that we've known for years, and we all know pretty much what we're getting into when we get one of these troopers. We have the molded detail on the back, and you could actually plug the backpack in from the Sand Trooper if you chose to do so. We have some, you know, pouches right over here. You know, it's that same sculpt that we've known. You got some nice pattern, texture pattern up here. It's a really good sculpt, and we do love the new 2020 Stormtrooper body as well. And we think it's actually superior to this body at least, but again, the main draw for me is going to be the Sand Trooper helmet. Coming in to take a closer look at that articulation, the helmet can move a little bit up. It's a little hindered by this pauldron, but you could look down quite a bit. You can rotate the helmet all the way around, but again, that pauldron is going to kind of hinder that movement. Small amount of tilt, both sides. Better when you do it this side though, again, because of the pauldron. The arms rotate all the way around. You do have bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, giving you way more than 90 degrees. Rotation at the wrist, and the left hand is actually, you know, the horizontal hinge up and down. It is the trigger finger on the right hand with the vertical hinge. There's a ball joint on that torso to get you all kind of rotation and down and back and forth. You can go about that far back, crunch about that far forward. You can kick out about that far, kick back about that far. Double jointed knees, which works stupendously. You have that upper thigh rotation. The feet go all the way down, that far up, and of course you got that nice ankle pivot. You can get them to aim down the sights relatively well. You're missing out on those butterfly joints, but honestly, the old Stormtrooper body was never that bad. And obviously, this set does come with a vehicle, the Shadow, you know, Biker Scout. It is the same exact one. If you guys have this one, the Deluxe Biker Scout from Endor, you know, Return of the Jedi. It's the same mold, it's just repainted, but I think it looks fantastic. Let's take a closer look at that speeder bike. Before we do that, actually, he does come pre-posed on it, and I just wanted to show you in case you've never seen one of these. The arms are able to grip the handlebars, and there actually is these like pegs down here that you can plug the feet into. You could have him locked on there pretty solid. Just wanted to show you that before I take it off. Cool. This is just dope, man. I love the Imperial insignias that are plastered all over this one. It might appear white on camera, but I think it's actually a really light silver on the Imperial insignias. And yeah, I really like this speeder bike mold. There's tons of details on here that I just flat out, you know, would forget about. You do miss out on some of those details. Like, for example, I'll bring in this one. You know, you got a wash on that back pouch. This one, you know, it's just going to be black. So you do miss out on a little bit of detail, but you also kind of understand that this is just an all black, you know, Biker Scout here. We do have some paneling, and I really like this. It looks like, you know, screws or some sort of industrial, you know, nails, screws and nails. I don't know if that exists in Star Wars, but we do have some nice chrome and red for that button there. Really nice paint on the handlebars here. Different shades of gray, black, and chrome-ish, you know, silver. Another one of those Imperial insignias up here. We have really nice gunmetal gray on the bars. Going along to the tip here, we have a little bit more sculpted detail. This is amazing. It's one of those items that I have the original one, but it kind of just sits on the shelf. I've never really like sat and looked at it in depth to appreciate all of the detail. This piece does come off, and you can see even more, turbine engine detail under there. It's absolutely epic. I kind of like that this can detach. You do have the blaster that can rotate all the way around. Another great detail. These back flaps are gray, and then the flaps also open which way? Yeah, they open like that for a little bit of that speed boost. I really like the details in there too. Really cool, subtle things on this bike, even though it is just a black repaint of the one that we had already. It's exactly what it should be, and it stands up perfectly fine. You kind of got to balance it with this translucent stand, and you can get a little bit of articulation out of it. With the added weight of the Scout Trooper, it might be a little more difficult, but it's a ball joint, so obviously you can get a nice range of motion out of it. However, the newer speeder bikes, so for example, this is the Mandalorian one, the Amazon exclusive, the Remnant Scout, they have these different stands on it that actually balances the weight a little better, so you can do dynamic posing way easier with the newer stands. Just wanted to point that out because they did switch to these better stands that can balance the weight better, but it's same idea, it's still on that ball joint. As far as accessories for the Scout Trooper, they do come with their little Scout Trooper blaster pistol. It does appear to just be cast in gray plastic. Kind of hard to get a focus on because it's such a small accessory, but you get the idea. It's a great mold, it fits it in his hand fine, but it is just, the gray plastic because they are the Shadow Squadron. So, stealth. Remember guys, stealth. All right, here is the Shadow Scout onto the rotating base and into a pose, and he honestly looks every bit as good as the Shadow Stormtrooper Commander, which might sound a little blasphemous considering how much I love the Sand Trooper mold, but oh my gosh, the Scout Trooper is such an underrated mold in the Black Series. It still holds up to this day. It's honestly really close to a perfect sculpt, for me at least. You may notice some bowing in the legs, 100% bowed legs, because when there is a figure posed on the speeder bike, just sitting in that box for years and years, you're going to have bowed legs. I may try to heat them up in some hot water or a hairdryer or something, try and reshape those legs, but for now we're just going to review the figure with the bowed legs because that's how it is out of the box. I'm just giddy. I love that I found this set. It's, like I was saying earlier, a massive hole in my collection. Let's take a closer look at the Scout. We do have some more gray and some chrome down there on the breathing apparatus. Nice glossy paint for the visor. There's a little bit of silver up there as well. Really, really cool details on the helmet. Again, we have some more dull gray on the back there. We do have an Imperial insignia down there, if that can focus. Yeah, there you go. And actually, there is so much more of that midnight blue on this figure. So let me adjust the exposure. I kind of got to overexpose it again to get you to see it, but now I feel like you can see what I'm talking about. Just look at all of that like dark grayish, I call it midnight blue. I don't know, what would you guys call that? It's a little bit harder to pick up on camera, but naked eye, I can totally see this creamy grayish blue here, especially on the back, and it's honestly all over this figure compared to the Shadow Stormtrooper Commander. But with that out of the way, it is the Scout Trooper that we all know and love. Just to bring that in for a comparison, it's a repaint, 100%. There's nothing new about it. But even on the boots here, you can see the contrast between the glossy black and then the more matted black. I think it just makes it a really surprising figure, a set of figures, honestly, because both of these aren't just, a splosh of black paint painted over their original counterparts. There actually is some nice variety of paint detail. And yeah, like I said, the legs are bowed just from being posed on that speeder bike for so long. Oh yeah, he does have a leg holster right here. It doesn't work that well. I mean, it works to put the blaster in, but I would be very careful so you don't lose the tiny little blaster pistol. By the way, I totally forgot to show off this little stripe of red paint on the backpack. Man, the articulation on these Scout Troopers have always been fantastic. He can look that far up, super far amount down. You get pretty much no tilt, though. I guess that's a fallback, but you can rotate all the way around, 100%. The arms also rotate around. You got that upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that work perfectly. That's a perfect double joint, and it doesn't look weird either because of the armor plating. You have rotation at the wrists. The left hand is an up and down hinge. The trigger finger is an up and down vertical hinge. Awesome. The midsection, like chest articulation, is pretty different compared to the Stormtrooper. It's like all the way up here. It's not like down here in this area. It's actually this upper chest plating. You can get a small amount of rotation and, you know, a small amount of up and down as well. However, when you start to utilize the legs, he can, you know, lean down, you know, more than he would just be able to do with the upper chest. Kick out about that far, kick back about that far. Beautiful double jointed knees, upper thigh rotation, boot swivel, which is another amazing thing about the Scout Trooper mold. Gotta love boot swivel. The feet can go that far down, that far up, and you do have that nice ankle pivot. One small note about his gripping hand, it's not actually the traditional trigger finger hand, it's more of that gripping hand that has a cut between the two fingers, so you can actually squeeze both of those in there for a really secure, like it's not coming out. So that actually is the same deal over here on the left hand. How right down the middle there's a split to where he could actually hold the blaster in either hand. To make some comparisons, here is the Shadow Scout next to the original, well, actually the Archive Biker Scout right there. Same sculpt, different paint. Next to the Death Trooper, another all-black Special Forces Trooper. Imperial Stormtrooper, this is the new 2020 Stormtrooper. And some classic Stormtrooper body action. This is actually the Force Unleashed Shadow Stormtrooper, so nice little contrast there. And while we're at it, we might as well make all of those same comparisons with the Shadow Stormtrooper Commander. So here they are together. The Shadow Stormtrooper from the Force Unleashed, which again, this just really hammers home the different takes on the idea that the game had versus what existed previously. As far as which one I like better, that's honestly kind of hard to say because I do love the gaming greats Shadow Stormtrooper, but I gotta give it to the classic, to the OG with that Sand Trooper head sculpt. And I just think the all black works just a hair better because I do like the, you know, translucent sort of plastic they got going on here on the joints and everything. But yeah, I prefer the OG. Death Trooper, again, another all-black Special Forces Trooper. Some more Force Unleashed love with the gaming great Stormtrooper Commander, and I decided to do this because, it just really showcases the difference between the helmet sculpts. The new 2020 Stormtrooper, and the absolute legend, the Orange Pauldron Sand Trooper. Yeah, you guys already know that I absolutely love this set. I mean, you get 4 blasters, 2 awesome figures, and you can't forget about the vehicle. When this was originally released as a Target exclusive back in 2014, this was $49.99. Kinda hard to believe when you think of today's Black Series prices, but man, what the value that you would have got if you found this back in Target. Big shout out to Crown Point Toys and Collectibles for having this at a decent price. This was a holy grail item, a big hole missing in my collection, and I am beyond hyped to finally just have these. Obviously, I would recommend them if you can find them at a decent price. If not, I'm sorry, maybe they will get archived one way or another. However, you obviously would not get the speeder bike with that. Let me know what you think about the Shadow Squadron 2-pack. Did you pick this up back in the day from Target for $49.99, or did you acquire it from other means, eBay or a toy shop or what have you? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed this review, please give it a like and subscribe if you are new. We are always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. For 99 cents, we also have a channel membership. You get some cool custom-made emojis and clone trooper name badges next to your name and in the live streams that we do every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time. If you cannot support us in that way, no problem whatsoever. Just like, subscribe, show your friends, etc. Comment down below what you guys are thinking about this set. I've been Justin from Out of the Basement, and we will see you guys next time.